私は約束を守ります。全世代総力結集で全員参加で頑張んなきゃ立て直せませんよ。だって今人数少ないですし、もう全員に働いていただきます。馬車馬のように働いていただきます。私自身もワークライフバランスという言葉を捨てます。働いて働いて働いて働いて働いて参ります。
Actually does matter.
In the same way that some of the greatest politicians were themselves great adventurers,
Yes.
and lived a full life before going into politics, it matters in a different way for women.
All right, Samson, turn it. Go on. I didn't press a thing. Sam, this is our.
I mean, she knows how to seduce an audience.
Yes.
As opposed to simply berate them into submission,
Yes.
which is what Western politicians do.
Right, there we are. So, as I say, this is an important political point.
I agree.
She's unleashing the power of suggestion.
So, I've been to Nara. Nara was the greatest place I went to in the whole of Japan. It was an old capital when the emperor moved there, because the capital used to move with the emperor, and so it was set up in Nara for a while. But the deer are basically messengers, right? They're the sacred messengers for the spirits, and so the deer simply roam about Nara and allowed to go from place to place, and they're not bothered unless you happen to be Chinese and you basically think it's funny to. So when he says, "Oh, this is baseless," that there aren't any videos of the deer being attacked. Honestly,
Oh, they aren't giving them the sheep treatment.
it took me less time to find the video than his sentence saying it wasn't happening, right? I would say that if they had a chance to course correct on some of the errors
Yes.
of the previous administration, then this is at least a sign that things are moving in the right direction.
はい、今回はおなじみイギリスの保守系ポッドキャスト番組のメンバールカ・ジョンソン、ステリオスパナギオとフィラスモダドの3人が自民党の総裁に選ばれた高市早苗さんを取り上げて議論していたので、早速その模様をお届けしますね。話は高市さんの若かりし頃から鹿ワークライフバランス発言にイチャモンをつける人たちを一刀両断し、さらにはイタリアのメローニ政権との比較や参政党との関係まで多岐にわたります。ぜひ最後までご覧になってくださいね。それではどうぞ。
Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, so it seems that Japan may have a new Prime Minister. Now, I have to use the word may, because actually what has happened just so far is that the ruling party of Japan, the Liberal Democrat Party, have elected the new leader, this Sane Takaichi, which I've definitely mispronounced, but there we are. And she has followed on from the previous Prime Minister, Shigeru Ishiba, who obviously just resigned a few weeks back. And his resignation, when he came to give his resignation speech, one of the things that he was talking about was the fact that, well, we've just managed to finalize this great trade agreement with America, but there are many problems within the party, and so for the good of my party, the stability of the party and the stability of Japan, it's time for me to step down, and we'll find someone else who can unite it, right? And we can go forward, because Japan obviously has a lot of problems ahead of it. You know, beyond the demographic crisis, the economy has become sluggish, is the adjective that I see in many a news article. What's more, and also the inflation prices on rice is not really something that you want to be happening in a country like Japan. And so there may well be in the next 2 weeks a vote in the Diet, the Japanese Diet, their parliament, and this may be finalised. I have reasons to think that she will get the votes required, but it may well require her to rebuild a new coalition in the government, and the reasons for that is because, well, let's just say she is, despite being in the same party as Shigeru, these are not the same, right? Right. To put it bluntly, one of these is not like the other. And so let's just talk about some of this. So Japan's ruling Conservative Party has... Apologies, are out of whack. Japan's ruling Conservative Party has elected Takaichi as its new leader, and she's 64, and this does mean that she is the first female Prime Minister of Japan, which I don't give a damn about, but everyone else seems to do in the media. And Takaichi is among the more conservative candidates, leaning to the ruling party's right, a former government minister, TV host, and avid heavy metal drummer. When she was younger, which is pretty cool. And she is one of the best-known figures in Japanese politics, right? So she has renown, she's a familiar face for the Japanese electorate, and she has been in the game for a long time. She will have to navigate the US-Japan relationship and see through a tariff deal with the Trump administration, which was agreed by the previous government. And it's confirmed that as Prime Minister, one of her challenges will be uniting the party after a turbulent few years. So what we have here as well is, as we go through, she was a protege of Shinzo Abe, right? Now, Abe was something of a titan in Japanese politics, right? And was very, very renowned. He had his enemies, of course, and you can tell that. I don't mean to be glib about it by the fact that he was assassinated,
yes,
right? He was a divisive figure, but something of a rock at the same time, and he knew his mind. And so you end up where you have to now put this new leader under the microscope and scrutinize her a little bit. And so we have here people started rushing to the fact, well, Japan's ruling party has elected Takaichi as its new leader. And in 1994, she wrote a blurb recommending a book called Hitler's Election Strategy. The book was reportedly pulled from circulation after just 2 months due to complaints. And I do have to read some of this just because it is.
But wait. So the way you describe it, I don't see I don't see what the issue is, because you want to see how everyone got into power.
Yes.
So what's the issue with?
I don't disagree with you, Stelios.
Just
it's
based on what you said.
Well, what it is it's a game that we here in the West are very familiar with by now, aren't we? Which is just simple word association.
Yes.
And you want to stitch Takaichi and Hitler together as much as you possibly can, so that basically everyone runs away terrified. But as you can see here, this was from the blurb that she'd wrote. She just says, we believe that Hitler, who in a short time unified public opinion, seized power and established the Third Reich, offers very important lessons for thinking about modern electioneering, right? It's not talking about policies, not talking about the National Socialist Program. It's just looking at a particular time in history and how certain democratic, the machinery of democracy managed to create how X thing created Y result, right? Yep. It's as simple as that. It's value-free analysis. And so, but as I say, they want to trip her up. So you can see here as well, she gave a speech, a very short speech, might I add, which was God, if only our politicians could do that and just get on with the job a bit more rather than constantly word salading. But we have here, she talks about how foreigners who stay illegally just must be sent back. But, bare minimum. But
I saw a speech from Thatcher back in the day arguing the exact same point and saying that the consequences of not doing so are international chaos and that anybody who doesn't advocate for sending back illegal migrants is nuts. So Farage claims that Thatcher is his hero, so, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
We'll see how much he's willing to put that to the test, won't we? And, well, actually, as well, one of the things that I was seeing was that she is a bit of a Maggie fan herself.
Right.
As well. And she also talks about rejecting people with fake refugee claims who are taking advantage of Japan's generosity. Now, we've chronicled many times on here the particular problem that they have with the Kurds in Tokyo, particularly bad group who are causing abnormal levels of crime in that district or the city. But of course, because of the demographic problems that Japan are going through, and let's be frank about it, because of a lot of globalist money that has been flooding into Japan as well in order to make Japan become more authentically a part of the globo homo empire of gay race communism, it's trying to basically wedge the Japanese away from their own heritage, their own sense of self, and their own sense of destiny, right? Not what does the world want us to be, who do we as the Japanese people want to be?
Yes.
Which is all really any nation should ever really have to ask of itself. Of course, global considerations are important, but you have to be authentically yourself. You can't sacrifice the soul of your nation in order to appease others. So there's also the matter of her stance on China as well. Now, she seems to be...
Apologies, but this setting is like she's on a video game. Something like
Yeah.
Yeah, so Japanese television is one of the wildest things you've ever imagined. It's gorgeous.
I've seen some gorgeous Arnie ads where he's screaming revenge at the end. And laughing.
Well, I know you've spent a lot of time watching Arnie ads, so your favourite pastime. Sorry, I will just backtrack slightly as well and just recap a point I meant to make, which is that one of her chief backers has been Taro Aso, who was the Prime Minister of Japan back from 2008 to 9. Didn't end particularly well for him. You could probably tell that if he was only Prime Minister for a year, it wasn't a particularly successful PMship. However, again, he's a man of great influence in that party. And what's more as well, she was backed by 40% of the total membership of the party. And this is really important in the analysis as well, because you can tell here that when you look at the way that Shigeru was going about it, compared to the perhaps recalibration of the party now to a more conservative, traditional framework, you can see very much here how this party, in a way, kind of mirrors our own, right?
Yes.
Our own conservative party, where it's such a broad church that actually it doesn't stand for anything anymore. But the membership were always more conservative than the actual MPs who were put into Parliament. And so you can see here the membership of the party crying out for a recalibration. And it seems like they've got their woman forward, because she seemed to be the best means that they had at their disposal for bringing this about. So she's very, very hawkish on China. And why wouldn't you be?
Can I just comment on that tweet, please? Chinese people in Japan have a duty to help Chinese state espionage. Yes, we keep seeing that in the United States. We keep seeing that, I would argue, all over the West, but it's not being investigated enough. And naturally, you would side with your own country over your historic enemy, which is Japan. So that's not a surprise. And the second point, Chinese acquiring land in Japan would be duty bound to turn their land to military bases. 2 points. We saw the Israelis using territory in Iran as a base to manufacture and launch attack drones. We saw the Ukrainians using infrastructure in Russia as a base from which to launch drones against Russia's strategic bombers, like their nuclear capable bombers. And in the United States, you see all the time that there is a suspicious amount of Chinese land purchases that are close to American military bases. And you think about modern drone warfare, and yes, she has a point. She has a very good point. So people might see this and say, oh, no, she's absolutely bonkers for saying any of this stuff. No, this is just elementary common sense.
Indeed, I couldn't agree more. But more than this, more than the question of China or the question of immigration, I think the most incisive point I could make about her politics and the flavour that we might get from her is that back in the day, she was quite attractive. Right? And this is important, and I'll tell you why it's important, because actually here in the West, in England, our parliament is stuffed by women who look like prunes, right? And this is important because in being unattractive, growing up unattractive, they have become envious and bitter of other people, and it's jaded their entire worldview. And so the fact that she grew up and she went motorbiking and she was popular and she was attractive, this matters. I'm sorry. Like,
I agree.
It actually does matter.
In the same way that some of the greatest politicians were themselves great adventurers.
Yes.
And lived a full life before going into politics. it matters in a different way for women.
All right, Samson, turn it. Go on. I didn't press a thing. Sam, this is our...
I mean, she knows how to seduce an audience.
Yes.
As opposed to simply berate them into submission.
Yes.
Which is what Western politicians do.
Right, there we are. So, as I say, this is an important political point.
I agree.
She's unleashing the power of suggestion.
Yes. Not everyone's happy about it. I found this absolutely remarkable Substack from Jake Adelstein, who is very, very put out.
What is Jake Adelstein supporting?
Well, I can tell you what he's not supporting.
Okay.
If that will help, which is her. I must read some of this just because of how...
Takaichi endorsed Hitler's election strategy. Imagine, she tried to be a good orator. You know that? Hitler.
You know who else liked dogs? Hitler.
Yeah.
She, well, we'll get to other comparisons in just a minute, but for now, Japan just made history, though not the kind anyone wants to frame. Japan finally broke the glass ceiling, only to find it was the lid of a coffin. Progress, but only if you think puppy-shooting, ice-leading Nazi Kristi Noem would be a step forward as president because she's a woman, right? Takaichi endorsed, as you said, the Hitler thing, we won't retread it, threatened TV networks as communications minister, and claims foreigners abused Nara's deer without evidence. Now, Nara...
In what way are they abusing the deer?
So, I've been to Nara. Nara was the greatest place I went to in the whole of Japan. It was an old capital. When the emperor moved there, because the capital used to move with the emperor, and so it was set up in Nara for a while. But the deer are basically messengers, right? They're sacred messengers for the spirits, and so the deer simply roam about Nara and allowed to go from place to place, and they're not bothered unless you happen to be Chinese and you basically think it's funny to...
Why is he hitting that deer?
It's a great question. Yeah, thanks. Pause it for me, Samson. So when he says, "Oh, this is baseless," that there aren't any videos of the deer being attacked. Honestly,
I hope they aren't giving them the sheep treatment.
It took me less time to find the video than his sentence saying it wasn't happening. Right, and this is my favourite line though. Adelstein goes on to say, "Where she really shines, if you can call it that, is in weaponizing xenophobia." Straight into the veins. More of that, please.
I don't know how to react to this, because on the one hand, I just can't be exposed to such rhetoric.
No,
it's disgusting. But on the other hand, I'm thinking that he isn't particularly happy writing this, so that actually makes it funny for me.
Yes. It's very funny. Yes. No, you know how it is. You love a meltdown as much as anyone, Stelios, and so being on the panel, I had to give
true words.
So yeah, here she is when she was a young kid in Nara with her father. And I think another important point to make as well is that during her speech, she talked about the fact that from now on, there will be no work-life balance for her and her ministers.
Right.
It will be work, 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 work. Now, there is a certain Japanese character to that as well. People have already been taking it out of context, implying that she's basically just going to send every single Japanese person to the workhouses, right? Like some sort of like twisted Japanese Dickens novel.
Right.
However, the fact of the matter is as well that in terms of the demographic question, even though she is more traditional, she has a husband, she's had 3 children, right? Like this isn't someone like we've got the motherless
the childless.
The child hag. Yeah, sorry, the childless
who
hag.
To hag all the children of the world.
Right, yeah, and just see the cat mums. No, she actually has her own family. She's had that part of her life now, and she clearly now feels that sense of service. Now, obviously, I'm not a deep expert on Japanese politics, but I would say that if they had a chance to course correct on some of the errors of the previous administration, then this is at least a sign that things are moving in the right direction. Now, if there are Japanese people watching this, and I know there sometimes often are, because our videos here get translated into Japanese, and we're glad that you like them, but I will just encourage you to remain vigilant, right?
You don't want to end up with another Meloni.
No.
You don't want to end up with another Meloni. She promises one thing, she does the exact opposite. She continues with the same old policies, but she's just there to block somebody who is actually more conservative.
Exactly.
You really want to be vigilant against that. Absolutely.
Yes, because that's the point as well. There is a rising more conservative power, and that is, of course, the Sansai Party.
Yes.
And their leader, Kamiya, basically gave this speech.
普段ならもう自民党の総裁選に勝てば自動的に総理ということになるんですが、自民党は衆議院でも参議院でもですね、なかなか議席が足りませんので、さあどことどう組んでいくんだというふうな状況ですね。そういった中でいろいろメディアもですね、一生懸命と報道をしています。ね、左派のメディアの昨日のお通夜のような雰囲気は面白かったんじゃないですか、皆さん。ね。高市さんは私と同じくですね、左派のメディアにはあまり好かれていないということがよく分かりました。ね、ワークライフバランスを忘れて頑張って働くんだと言ったらですね、そんなこと言うなというふうに切り取られて叩かれてましたけども、別に彼女自身がですね、どういう思いで働くかの話をしただけであって、皆さんにそれを強要してるわけじゃないのにですね、それを叩いてるのを見てですね、やっぱりこういうメディアだなというふうに思いながら見ていました。でも我々参政党の立場からするとですね、小泉さんが勝つよりは高市さんの方が良かったと正直思っています。もう小泉総理誕生とかなればですね、JA は大丈夫かと、ね、選択的夫婦別姓が一気に進むんじゃないかとかですね、いろんな懸念があってですね、もう今日から 100% の力で戦わなければいけないなというふうな覚悟はしていたわけであります。半分覚悟していましたね。けれども高市さんですから半分ぐらいでいいですね。警戒度は 50% です。はい。でも高市さんだから全部応援できるかと言いますと、参政党はそうじゃないんですね。皆さんそこは理解してください。もちろんね、選択的夫婦別姓とかはやらないでしょう。 JA の民営化も進めないでしょう、ね、外国人にも厳しく、ね、取り締まりや受け入れ制限をしてくれるかもしれませんが、しかし高市政権になったとして日本の政治が180度一気に変わるとは我々参政党は考えていません。ですから我々、ね、党の代表として昨日メッセージを出したのは、高市さんになったことは小泉さんよりは、ね、歓迎すべきことだと、ね、ぜひ頑張ってもらいたいというようなことは言いました。そして国益にかなう政策であれば応援しますよと、ね、国益にかなう政策であれば応援しますよということを強く言いました。裏返せば国益にかなわない政策であれば徹底的に反対するということであります。これは一切ぶれておりません。
He basically goes on to say that because of the pressure and gains that Sansito have been putting on, it's signalled to the LDP on which direction the winds are blowing in. And yes. in this sense, this is another reason why I would encourage vigilance, is because we had a similar sort of thing happen in this country back in 2014, which was a huge boom of about 4 million votes for UKIP. And though that didn't translate into a huge number of seats in Parliament, it forced the Conservative Party's hand to give us a Brexit referendum. Now, we got totally betrayed on all of that, but that's why I'm just saying, keep an eye, watch what they're doing, focus on what's being done in particular with immigration and on the demographic question. However, there are, of course, many in the Japanese establishment who will not like this change.
Yes.
And the thing is as well that under normal circumstances, you might have the Diet try and prolong the vote, confirming her to be PM, obfuscate, and basically just whittle down the will of the Conservatives to actually bolster their own power. However, there is an extenuating circumstance here, which is that Trump himself is going to be making a state visit to Japan on October the 27th. And so they can't really do that. Japan needs a prime minister before Trump arrives, right? And so it may just be that in making a new coalition, who knows, she might achieve something. But I would, as I say, just urge the Japanese people to be watchful. And if you're not happy, keep tacking to the right.
I mean, the lesson has been consistently keep chimping out, right?
Keep chimping out.
Keep chimping out. Keep going crazy. Don't give them any breathing space.
Yes.
Keep their feet to the fire.
And save the deer.
And save the deer,
At all
absolutely.
costs. All right.
Right.
いかがだったでしょうか。高市さんに期待をしながらも、彼ら自身イギリスの政府に裏切られた経験から警戒感を忘れるなという言葉がとっても印象的でした。最終的に日本がいい方向に向かえばいいのだから、それが高市政権でも参政党でもあるいはそれ以外の政党でも構わないのですが、高市さんならやってくれると期待しつつも、期待するあまり見切りが遅くなってはいけないなと改めて思いました。皆さんはどうお感じになりましたか。ぜひコメント欄で共有してください。立ち上がれ日本人。ご視聴ありがとうございました。